The hills came alive with the sound of Formula 1 as the F1 circus rolled up for the Austrian Grand Prix. And it was Jenson Button who probably had the best Saturday at the Red Bull Ring as he qualified at the front of the grid in his McLaren and he takes pole position for today's race. It also looked like the Toro Rossos have returned to the front of the grid as Danny Kvyat qualifies on the front row of the grid in P2 with Carlos Sainz just behind him, third on the grid. The Force India team, however, seemed to struggle here yesterday despite being the fastest car in a straight line as Nico Hülkenberg could only manage fourth on the grid with Sergio Perez way down in P7. And it was another disappointing qualifying session for the other Red Bull of Hayden Gullis who could only qualify in P21, meaning he's been knocked out in Q1 once again this season. The two-time world champion complained all weekend about the lack of pace in his car, and with upgrades coming at the next round in Britain, he's going to have to rely on his strategy to have a good race today. So that is your qualifying roundup ahead of today's race. Up next, it's the Austrian Grand Prix. What is up, people, and welcome back to part 93 of my F1 2016 career mode here at the Austrian Grand Prix. It's round 9 of season 5, and the championship between myself and Sergio Perez is getting a little bit scarce at the moment. We are quite a bit of a distance away from Sergio Perez, but we're here at the Austrian Grand Prix having a terrible qualifying session once again, being way down the field in 21st. It does mean that we've got a bit of a race on our hands. We're going to have some fun getting through the field, hopefully, only if we have some pace in the car. I have been struggling this weekend, setting about a 109, where the rest of the field are setting 107. So have been struggling quite considerably in today's race. But there is the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton. He lines up P6 on the grid. Good qualifying session there for the Mercedes driver. And there is Jenson Button lining up in pole position. Once again, the McLaren is at the front of the field. Exciting stuff to see there from Jenson Button. Nico Hülkenberg, not the best of days for the Force India team. Despite qualifying in P4, you would seem that that would be a good result. But the Force Indias, as we know, are very quick in a straight line. So they should be higher up the field. But here we are, getting underway for the formation lap here today. And I'm having to wait quite a bit as I'm way down the field in 21st place. But Sergio Perez currently leading the championship at this stage of the season after 8 rounds, sorry. And there is Sergio Perez at the top, 151 points on board at the moment. I'm in second on 108 points, so there's quite a bit of a gap at the moment between myself and Sergio Perez, with myself not really looking like I'm going to be able to close up that gap here today. But there are 36 laps ahead of us, so anything can happen. Fernando Alonso currently lines third on the grid on the championship at the moment in 85 points, with Jenson Button behind him in fourth. Then Nico Hülkenberg and Daniel Ricciardo on exactly the same points. So let's have a look at the starting grid for today's race. Jenson Button qualifies in pole with Danny Kvyat second, Carlos Sainz in third with Nico Hülkenberg fourth. Then it's Daniel Ricciardo fifth, Lewis Hamilton in sixth, Sergio Perez seventh, Vettel in 8th, Grosjean 9th, Alonso rounding out the top 10 with Pascal Wehrlein just missing out in P11, Gutierrez in 12th with Palmer in 13th, Haryanto 14th, Kevin Magnussen in 15th, then we have Ericsson 16th, Massa 17th, Rosberg 18th, Felipe Nasr in 19th, Kimi Räikkönen down in 20th, myself in 21st, and Valtteri Bottas right at the back of the field in 22nd position. And this is going to be the race strategy at the moment for today's Austrian Grand Prix. We are starting on the softer tyres, on the hardest of tyres available to us in this race weekend. Then going on to 2 sets of super soft tyres for the end of the race. But we may try and see how long these soft tyres can last and then see what sort of strategy we are going to do. Whether we just go for super softs then ultra softs, or whether we just go for super softs till the end of the race. We're just going to have to wait and see as we come round the final corner now to start to get lined up on the grid and get this race underway here in Spielberg. So here we go, on to the starting grid. We've only got Valtteri Bottas behind us. We're going to have a lot of cars ahead of us, hopefully try and make a lot of overtakes in this race. But let's head down to the starting grid for the Austrian Grand Prix. And here we are on the starting grid for the Austrian Grand Prix as the lights start to come on now. It's 5 red lights. It's lights out and away we go for today's race. And it's a good start compared to the Sauber of Felipe Nasr going down in towards turn 1. What can we do on the rest of the field? We're going to take it cautiously. They're all going to get piled up down towards turn 1, and we do not want to break any parts of our front wing very early on in the race. Going side by side now with Valtteri Bottas, who has unfortunately put us way down at the back of the field. We are now last in today's race. That is not a good start to this Austrian Grand Prix. We're going down in towards turn 2. Lots of cars getting in each other's way once again, taking it nice and patient. Around the outside of Valtteri Bottas, side by side with the Williams driver at the moment as we go around the outside still. Trying to go around the outside there of Felipe Nasr, but holding P21 at the moment. Valtteri Bottas looks like he's lost out a lot of time in the start of today's race. So not too sure what's happened to him down in towards turn 2. But here we are on the back of Felipe Nasr. What can we do on the Sauber driver on the start of this race? Still putting ourselves on the back of Felipe Nasr. Looks like he may be finding a little bit of a gap to us. We were struggling mainly through the fast double left-hander, which is a bit of a surprise, seeing as the Red Bull is good in the corners, but not very good down the straights. And here we are starting lap 2 of this Austrian Grand Prix. Still behind Felipe Nasr, still got a bit of a gap there to Valtteri Bottas. What can we do on the Sauber driver? Very much on the gearbox now of Felipe Nasr on the run down in towards turn 2. Could we possibly be going for the overtake on the Sauber driver? Here we go, right-hand side, up the inside, braking at the 100-meter board. And have we got the job done? He's still holding it around the outside. We give him room on the exit. Has he got a better exit than us? No, he hasn't. And there we go, holding on to P20 at the moment in this race. But will Nasr come back at us down in towards turn 3? No, he doesn't. And there we go, holding on to the position for today's race. And now we're going to be hunting down Nico Rosberg in that Mercedes, who's got another driver just ahead of him, the Williams of Felipe Massa. As we go down in towards turn 2 on lap 3 here. Right on the back of Nico Rosberg, once again taking it cautiously. A lot of drivers getting caught up by each other as we go up the inside of Nico Rosberg upon exit, losing the back end ever so slightly. We've been caught on each other. Can we push into the wall? No, we don't. Luckily, we just about managed to shake off each other's cars. That was a close one. That was a close one in today's race. Usually, as soon as you touch another driver like that and you are locked together, you are going into the barrier. So we are very fortunate for that not to happen, as there looks like there's 3 drivers going side by side through the fast left-hander. They're going to be holding each other up, which is absolutely perfect for us in today's race, as it's going to allow us to catch up to those guys. As I think it's Sebastian Vettel or Kimi Räikkönen currently leading this pack at the moment. They're going to go side by side down in towards turn 1. We have the 2 Manners going side by side as well. They're going to block everybody, and as we were so far behind, we're going to have a great run through turn 1, side by side with Felipe Massa, following behind Jolyon Palmer and Kevin Magnussen. Massa squeezed us onto the grass, so that sort of lost us a little bit of pace down in towards turn 2. We dive it up the inside of both the Renault drivers as well, just behind Rio Haryanto in the Manor. What can we do on the Renault? Have we got the job done? Looks like we have. We could possibly have a little run at Rio Haryanto down in towards turn 3. We're tucking back in the slipstream, using DRS to our full advantage. Will we go up the inside? No, we don't. We decide better of it, and for now just decide to hold back and stay behind Rio Haryanto for the time being, as we cut ahead now to the start of lap 5. Still on the back of Rio Haryanto. What can we do on the Manor driver down towards turn 1? He's having a look on Gutierrez down in towards turn 1, holding each other up, and that's going to give us a great exit. Lovely little switchback move there, getting both the Manor and the Haas drivers side by side now with Pascal Wehrlein. We've got the job done, moved up into P12 for the time being, but Rio Haryanto coming back at us, making it 3 wide down in towards turn 2. What's going to happen here? We're hugging the apex as much as we possibly can. It's a struggle to get the car turned in as we were on the inside line, but we managed to get the job done, and there we go, holding on to P11 in today's race. What a start. What a start, this Austrian Grand Prix, starting in P21, and now we've moved up so many positions within 5 laps of this amazing Austrian Grand Prix. But what can we do over the course of the race? We're now under pressure from the rest of the field behind us, as we're watching Nico Rosberg go battle with, I think that's Felipe Massa and the Manor of Rio Haryanto, or it could be Pascal Wehrlein. I think Pascal Wehrlein got caught out. They're going to go 3 wide down in towards turn 2. Didn't really work for myself, but it looks like Pascal Wehrlein is a little bit too far behind, so it's going to be 2 wide between Rosberg and Massa. And Rosberg, there we go, gets the job done on both of those drivers and moves up a good amount of positions in today's race. Looks like he's the quickest out of the back markers, just like myself at the moment, as Alonso, I believe, has just come into the pits there. So we've moved up into P7, a few drivers into the pits as well. So moving up into P7 at the moment, into the points, but you know, we do still have to make a pit stop in this race, and those guys behind us who have just made a pit stop are going to be very quick on fresher tyres. We've got Rio Haryanto right on our tail. He's going to be putting us under quite a bit of pressure in today's race, but can we hold on, as we're watching on board with Fernando Alonso at the moment, who's had an engine failure in today's race. He is going to be out of today's Austrian Grand Prix. Disappointment there for the Spaniard in that McLaren. The engine, the Honda engine, not tending to do well in this career mode, just like in real life there. And unfortunately, Fernando Alonso is going to be out of the race. Luckily, no safety cars. That would have really helped the guys who have just made a pit stop. So we're going to go around the outside of someone who has come into the pits. And there we go, moving up some more positions. We're watching on board now with Daniel Ricciardo as the green flag is out and we are back underway racing. He's looking to try and get past Felipe Nasr in the Sauber, maybe around the outside in towards turn 3. 3 wide with Danny Kvyat as well, down in towards turn 3. Who's going to have the better line through here? Looks like Daniel Ricciardo, who's gone through the middle of both of the drivers, side by side slightly with Danny Kvyat, but Danny Kvyat just not quick enough for the Red Bull. And there we go, Daniel Ricciardo moving up positions. He's made a pit stop very early on in this race, hence why he is behind myself in the chasing pack at the moment. But we still have drivers to make pit stops, so the rest of the field is going to sort itself out as the race goes on. Rio Haryanto very close to the back of my car at the moment. We've also got a Renault of Kevin Magnussen and Sergio Perez, who has made his pit stop, closing in on this pack as well. So what can he do in today's race as Rio Haryanto goes around the outside, down in towards turn 2. Going to hold the inside line side by side with the Manor drive. He's going to have a great exit out that final corner, but it looks like he hasn't actually. But he is going to follow in the slipstream. We know the Manor is very quick in a straight line. He's going to go around the outside, down in towards turn 3. Has he got the job done? We try and brake late, but not quite. And we actually go into the back of him and are very lucky not to get any front wing damage on our car. And there we go, checking the front wing just to make sure that there is no damage. At the moment, we run it very wide into the fast left-hander of turn 5 there, and unfortunately losing out to Kevin Magnussen. And now we have Sergio Perez, my championship rival, all over the back of myself, and he's already made a pit stop in this race. He's going to go around the outside, down in towards turn 8. What can he do here? Looks like he's got the job done. Lovely move there from the Force India of Sergio Perez, moving up into P5, and unfortunately we have lost another position as we're now going to be under pressure from Nico Rosberg. I said earlier on in this race, Nico Rosberg is probably one of the fastest drivers in the chasing pack at the moment of the back markers, so we do have to be aware of him as we cut into lap 12 now. It looks like Perez, Haryanto and Magnussen getting caught up by each other. We're going to get a great line through turn 1. Perez getting that straight line speed of the Force India. It's just so quick in a straight line. It's so frustrating that I used to have a car like that. And now, unfortunately, we've got a car that is like a donkey in a straight line as we go up the inside of Kevin Magnussen, down in towards turn 2. Squeeze him out on the exit, but he holds it around the outside. We're going to get DRS on the 2 ahead of us. And that, luckily, is going to put us ahead of Kevin Magnussen. But he's still chasing us, trying to go around the outside of turn 3. What can he do in towards this corner? If anything, looks like he can't. And there we go, holding on to P3 at the moment in this race as Rio Haryanto loses position there to Sergio Perez, and now Perez is back up into the lead of the race. So despite that disappointing qualifying session there for the Force India driver, he still manages to get back up into the lead of the race. I just don't know how he does it, but at the end of the day, we have driven in that car, so we know just how fast that Force India is in a straight line. Especially at a track like this, that is really going to benefit you in today's race. We're trying to close in on Rio Haryanto at the moment. We are close enough at the moment for DRS, but is it going to be enough to go for an overtake down in towards turn 1? Here we are using DRS, gaining on Rio Haryanto up the inside, and we're just going to hold it up the inside. Can we do it? Slight little contact between the wheels of the two of us, but there we go, moving up the inside of Rio Haryanto and getting back up into second place. Now we've got Nico Hulkenberg joining this pack, so another Fast Force India driver. We battle with him in season 4 as we go around the outside of Kevin Magnussen, try to do a bit of a switchback move, but go into the back of Kevin Magnussen as he sort of slows down around the outside of Nico Hulkenberg there. That's really going to cost us in today's race. We try and close up to Nico Hulkenberg, but unfortunately it looks like he's got the job done, and now Haryanto goes around the inside, of turn 3. We've got to hold it around the outside in towards turn 4 and turn 5. Can we do the job on Rio Haryanto? It's going to be difficult up the inside of turn 5, side by side between myself and Haryanto, but he can't hold it around that fast left-hander, and there we go, holding on to P5 at the moment. But disappointing to lose out to Kevin Magnussen and Nico Hulkenberg, and also break a bit of our front wing as well. That's really going to cost us, especially in those 2 fast left-handers and the 2 fast right-handers at the end of the lap as well. But we're closing quite a lot on Kevin Magnussen. Going to try a bit of a switchback move there on K-Mag. There we go, greater exit on the Renault driver, and there we are using DRS to our advantage, side by side down in towards turn 3. But K-Mag coming back at us. He's going to try around the outside of turn 3. What can he do? A big lock up there from Kevin Magnussen, and there we go, holding on to position for the time being. But K-Mag still holding it around the outside turn 4, inside of turn 5, and there, unfortunately, Kevin Magnussen getting the position, holding on to P3 for the time being. We've got Nico Rosberg still very much on the back of our car. Nico Hulkenberg there, holding on to P2 very nicely. Kevin Magnussen in P3, myself in P4, and then we've got Nico Rosberg, who has a look up the inside, but can't quite make the job, can't quite do the job there in towards turn 8 and turn 9, and we're managing to hold on to P5 for the moment. But Nico Rosberg will have great straight line speed all the way down in towards turn 1. Here he goes up the inside, down in towards turn 1. We're going to brake early, try the switchback move, but unfortunately Rosberg took too much of the curb for my liking there. And unfortunately for us, he actually got slingshot onto the edge of the corner. Now going to come under pressure from the Manor and the McLaren as those two get caught up on there as they're going back to battle. At the moment, as Nico Rosberg ahead of us, her engine has gone. So much happening in the space of a couple of seconds in this race as Rio Haryanto gets the job done up the inside in towards turn 2 there. Unfortunately, we couldn't come back at him and go around the outside and do the switch up move because Nico Rosberg's engine expired ahead of us. But now we go up the inside, down in towards turn 3. We just don't have the straight line speed in this Red Bull. Just look how slow we are in a straight line. We just can't compete with Rio Haryanto. Try to go around the outside of turn 5, but the front wing damage really costing us at the moment. And there we go, Haryanto getting the job done and moving up into P5. And now we're going to come under pressure from the McLaren of Jenson Button, who just goes around the outside of turn 7 there in towards turn 8. And there we go once again. Another driver got the position done on us, just having no straight line speed in this race. And this is what I mean, struggling with the lack of pace in this Red Bull at the moment. So now we're going to come under pressure from the Haas driver, which I believe is Roman Grosjean. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it is Roman Grosjean at the moment in this race, going through the double left-hander in towards the right of turn 7. On the run down in towards turn 8, Roman Grosjean. On the right-hand side, it is Grosjean. Up the inside, in towards turn 8. And there we go. Got the job done before we even get to the corner. It looks like the Romana and the McLaren going side by side through turn 8. So if those two could battle, then that could really help us. But it looks like it hasn't. And now we're coming under pressure from Carlos Sainz. Now this is a blast from the past. The battle for the Season 3 World Championship. And here we are battling for a measly, I think this is 7th or 8th position in today's Austrian Grand Prix, which is slightly disappointing considering where we were. No, we're actually back up into P4, as it looks like a few drivers have actually made their pit stops in this race. I believe that is the Mana of Rio Haryanto and the Renault of Kevin Magnussen have made their pit stops in this race. But batting for P4 at the moment between myself and Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz getting the job done up the inside in towards turn 3. Going to try the switchback move on the Toro Rosso driver, but that wasn't the greatest lines from myself. I have to admit, that was a terrible switchback move there from myself. And unfortunately, we have lost out that position to Carlos Sainz and are just really struggling with the straight line speed in this race. It doesn't help that we are trying to take these soft tyres for as long as we possibly can. We are struggling quite a bit with grip as well. But just the straight line speed is awful. I mean, just look at this. Lewis Hamilton up the inside, down in towards turn 8. And there he goes. Got the job done. We try and hold it around the outside because we're still quite good in the corners despite having this front wing damage. And then a bit of a lock up there from myself. A huge mistake in towards turn 9. And Lewis Hamilton gets the job done. And now we have our teammate of Daniel Ricciardo on our tail. So it's only going to be a matter of time before he puts some pressure on us. But as he is our teammate, we're on a different strategy. We are going to let him through. So here we are going through the left, then the right of turn 6 and 7, and we're just going to pull over to the left-hand side. Daniel Ricciardo will pull over to the right-hand side. We're going to brake early in towards turn 8, and there we go, Daniel Ricciardo up the inside, and he's going to take away P6 from us as we move down in towards P7. Now, Sebastian Vettel is the next driver behind us, as we're watching on board with Jenson Button, who is chasing down, I believe this is Danny Kvyat at the moment in the Toro Rosso. He's got 2 Manas on his tail, and he's got a Williams just ahead of him as well, as one of the Williams comes into the pits. And now what can Danny Kvyat do to defend against Jenson Button down in towards turn 1? If anything, Jenson Button, here he goes, up the inside, down in towards turn 1, side by side between him and Danny Kvyat. What can he do? Oh, they've made contact in towards that corner. That's going to put them under pressure from the 2 Mana drivers, who we know are so quick in a straight line. And there goes one of them, and there goes the other of Pascal Wehrlein. It's going to be 3 wide down in towards turn 2. What's going to happen here? Jenson Button up the inside. Looks like Haryanto's got the job done around the outside. Pascal Wehrlein following through as well. And just look at that. Jenson Button challenging for the front of this pack with Danny Kvyat is now at the back of it. Wow, amazing scenes here at the Austrian Grand Prix. As now I'm under pressure from the Renault of Kevin Magnussen once again, who's got ahead of Sebastian Vettel, I believe that is. No, that's Kimi Raikkonen. Look, there we go, on the right-hand side on myself. Kevin Magnussen so much quicker in a straight line, using that DRS as well. But we're going to brake early, down in towards turn 1. Try and get the switch-back move on Kimi Raikkonen. Try and defend as much as we possibly can as we lose the back end so much through turn 1. Side by side, though, with Kimi Raikkonen at the moment down in towards turn 2. So what can we do to defend against Kimi Raikkonen? He's braked a little bit later, but we've got a late braking on the second phase of braking. And there we go, up the inside of Kimi Raikkonen, side by side at the moment, using DRS down in towards turn 3. I don't think it's going to be enough, but we're following in the slipstream now of Kimi Raikkonen. Pull out that slipstream, go up the inside, down in towards turn 3. And is it going to be enough? Will it be a great exit down in towards turn 4 and turn 5? No, it's not. Look at that. Struggling with the exits. Yes, okay, our rear tyres are really worn at this stage of the race, so that is why we are hurting quite a bit on acceleration. But still, the straight line pace of Kimi Raikkonen is exceptional at this phase of the race. We're watching on board this battle between Jolyon Palmer and Sebastian Vettel at the moment in this race. So what's going to go on between these two? They've run it slightly wide down in towards turn 1. We've seen that quite a lot amongst the AI drivers, and it's allowed us to actually capitalise quite a bit in this race. And it looks like Ericsson's going to do exactly the same thing, as he's going to go around the outside of Sebastian Vettel. But he's been caught up behind Julian Palmer, so it looks like he won't, unfortunately, be able to go for that move on Sebastian Vettel. And there we go, dropping off quite a bit after that turn 2. But side by side still between Sebastian Vettel and Julian Palmer down in towards turn 3. Oh no! Julian Palmer has had an engine failure in today's race. There's contact between him and Marcus Ericsson as he tries to pull off to the steward's post on the inside of the corner, and unfortunately makes contact there with Marcus Ericsson in today's race. And the virtual safety car has been deployed, so that means that we are going to be making our first pit stop in this race. We're going to try and take these soft tyres for as long as we possibly could, but that virtual safety car will mean that we get a quicker pit stop compared to the rest of the field. It kind of means that we get a free pit stop, sort of a half free pit stop. It's not quite as good as pitting underneath the safety car, but it's still better than pitting in normal racing conditions. We come into pits, a 1.8 second stop there from the Red Bull team. They are so quick with their pit stops this season. We have seen that, especially at the Canadian Grand Prix here today with a 1.8. The virtual safety car still out at the moment. It looks like we're going to come out just behind our teammate Daniel Ricciardo in 12th place. That's not too bad at all, especially when you consider where we start in P21. We're now only come out in P12 with a few drivers ahead of us, still yet to make pit stops. There's 10 laps of this race to go. We've got to try and make these ultra soft tyres last for 10 laps in this race, which I think is possible. If we made the soft tyres last for 26, we should be able to make these ultra softs last for 10 laps. As now it's green, we're underway once again at the Austrian Grand Prix. Up the inside now of Daniel Ricciardo, straight away pouncing on that green flag, side by side with my teammate in towards turn 4 and turn 5. We're going to have to hold it around the outside, which I don't think is going to be possible with that front wing damage. Unfortunately, it is not, and we have to settle behind for P12 for the time being. But we are going to be closing in on this pact of, I believe, Jenson Button and the two Manners. So what can we do on these two guys? The Manners go side by side. Jenson Button getting involved as well. All those guys going to be holding each other up. That's going to be perfect for myself and Daniel Ricciardo. One of the Manners coming into the pits here on lap 27. So like I said, drivers ahead of us still have to make pit stops in this race. The McLaren and the Manor go side by side down in towards turn 1. That's going to be great for my teammate of Daniel Ricciardo. He's going to literally just pounce on both of those guys up in towards turn 2. Hopefully for him, he can get the job done. And here he goes, Andrea Haryanto side by side around the outside in towards turn 2. I'm going to join that attack as well. Go up the inside of Jenson Button in towards turn 2. Ricciardo around the outside of Haryanto. I'm up the inside JB, using DRS to full advantage on the two guys ahead of us. Jenson Button, though, having great straight line speed, as every other car does in the field, it seems to be. And here we go up the inside of Jenson Button, down in towards turn 3. Can we hold position this time around? Yes, we can. And this time, actually staying in front of Jenson Button as we go down in towards turn 5 and holding on to that position. Right, now what can we do on Ria Haryanto? We need to close in on the Manor driver and try and get this position away from him, and then try and hunt down our teammate of Daniel Ricciardo once again, who I believe, unfortunately, is actually quicker than us in this race. But we'll see what we can do as we go up the inside of Ria Haryanto down in towards turn 8. And what a move that was, up the inside of Haryanto in towards turn 8, side by side for a fast right-hander. And there we go, getting the job done. But Ria Haryanto going to come back at us down in towards turn 1. Button as well, up the inside. We're going to brake early like we have done so many times in this race. Do a nice little switchback move on Haryanto and Jenson Button. And move up into P9 at the moment. But unfortunately not having the straight line speed on Haryanto. Side by side with him. And looks like Jenson Button's going to make it free wide. Going to brake so early down in towards this turn 2. Go for a wider line. Go for the switchback. And there we go. Look at that power down. And we have just obliterated Ria Haryanto and Jenson Button with that lovely switchback move on both those drivers, going down in towards turn 3. And it looks like we are going to hold on to this position here at the Austrian Grand Prix. And we now cut ahead to lap 30. Looks like Kevin Magnussen going for the overtake on Jenson Button as the man of Haryanto comes into the pits. No, there's contact between him and Kevin Magnussen. Magnussen out of today's Austrian Grand Prix. Luckily, he's just on the outside of the racing lines. There isn't going to be a collision down there, but hopefully the stewards can get rid of that car as soon as possible. And they've got it done. Green flag, and away we go. So Kevin Magnussen's car moved out of the way very quickly in today's Austrian Grand Prix, and now going to be under pressure once again from the McLaren of Jenson Button. What can he do? He goes up the inside, down in towards turn 2. Once again, we're going to brake early, go for a nice wide line, go for the switchback move, and there we go, getting the job done on Jenson Button. But can we hold on to it down in towards turn 3? He's going to have a great straight line speed using DRS and slipstream in towards turn 3, going up the inside. We're going to have to hold it around the outside of this corner, which we have tried to do side by side with Jenson Button getting a wheel on the grass there. That's not going to help But there we go, unfortunately. Jenson Button, just like every other car in the field, much greater straight line speed on us. And he moves up into P7, I believe that is, in today's race. So unfortunately, losing out to Jenson Button. Now going to be under pressure from the Ferrari of Kimi Räikkönen. Kimi Räikkönen right to our tails. We go down in towards turn 8 and turn 9. He's going to go up the inside into that corner. Can he get the job done? Kimi Räikkönen up the inside. We're going to try and hold it around the outside of turn 8. But unfortunately, we just don't have enough in the tank. And Kimi Räikkönen getting the job done for the time being as we follow in the slipstream using DRS as well. Can we do anything on Kimi Räikkönen? Closing up so much, getting so close to the back of that gearbox of Kimi Räikkönen. Up the inside, down in towards turn 1. A little bit of contact between two of us as Kimi Räikkönen sort of turns into us there in that corner. And there we go, getting the job done for the time being. But on the run down to turn 2, once again, Kimi Räikkönen so much faster in a straight line. He goes up the inside in towards turn 2. Like we did to Jenson Button, take a wider line, cut back on the apex, get the power down early, and there we go, holding on to P8 for the time being. But Kimi Räikkönen, right our tail, following in the slipstream, moves over to the left-hand side, side by side, once again, down in towards turn 3. Can we do anything on Kimi Räikkönen under braking? No, we can't. And unfortunately, that is Kimi Räikkönen moving up into P8 in this Austrian Grand Prix and taking away that position from us, and now under pressure from the other Toro Rosso of Dani Kvyat. Is that? No, I believe it's Carlos Sainz in this race at the moment. Is it Carlos Sainz? As we come through the final corner, yes, Carlos Sainz going for the overtake down into... No, or is it Dani Kvyat? I don't actually know. Yes, it's Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz going for the overtake there. No, it is Dani Kvyat. It is Dani Kvyat, so I'm not too sure when Carlos Sainz actually got past us. Must have been ahead of us anyway and then came into the pits. But Dani Kvyat getting the job done. And there is Sergio Perez, who comes round the final corner now, takes the checkered flag, and he wins the Austrian Grand Prix here today. It's another race win for the Mexican driver, who has had a fantastic season on his return to Force India, despite having 2 years out in this season. Luckily for us, we're still ahead of Dani Kvyat at the moment, but he goes up the inside, down in towards turn 3. This is to try and fight for 9th position in today's race. It looks like Kvyat has got the job done for the time being. I don't think there's going to be anything for us left to fight with as Hülkenberg crosses the line in P2 and Romain Grosjean finishes in P3. Lewis Hamilton finishing today's race in P4. My teammate Daniel Ricciardo getting a top 5 finish, so well done there to Daniel Ricciardo in today's race, as we've now got Pascal Wehrlein, that is, all on our tail as we go down in towards the final 2 corners. This is the battle for the final points position in today's race. Big lock up into the final corner. Pascal Wehrlein all over the back of us using DRS, going to the right hand side. Will he get the job done? Did we manage to hold on to that final points position? Yes, we did. We managed to get a point here today, but it is still a disappointing race here today. A great race in terms of action on the racetrack happening here today, but in terms of results, it wasn't a great race for us here today. Like I said, struggled with the lack of pace all weekend, and that just showed here today, getting overtaken by every single driver as soon as we got to the straights. We could battle in the corners, we could do switch track moves, and we could do stuff like that, but as soon as we got into the straights and acceleration, I was just gone. There was no chance that I was battling with those drivers, and it was just unfortunate there. But at least we still managed to get 1 point in today's race, and that's going to help us battle with the drivers ahead of us. But it was Sergio Perez who wins today's Austrian Grand Prix. Good result there for the Mexican driver, but unfortunately he has moved another 24 points ahead of me in the championship. Nico Hülkenberg in 2nd, Romain Grosjean 3rd, Lewis Hamilton 4th, Daniel Ricciardo in 5th, with Jenson Button 6th, Kimi Räikkönen 7th, Carlos Sainz 8th, Dani Kvyat in 9th, and there's myself getting the final championship here today, with Pascal Wehrlein in 11th and Sebastian Vettel just missing out as well in P12. Looking further down the field then, and we have Esteban Gutierrez, who got a podium last time around at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, finishes in P13, with Felipe Massa in 14th, Ria Haryanto 15th, Felipe Nasr in 16th, then Valtteri Bottas 17th, Marcus Ericsson 18th, Kevin Magnussen in 19th, who was one of our DNFs. Then we had Jolyon Palmer, the other Renault, not finishing today. Nico Rosberg having that engine blowout early on in today's race, finishing in P21, and Fernando Alonso being the final driver to not finish. Driver standings then after 9 rounds of this season, and the gap to Sergio Perez is 67 points at this stage of the season. That is a huge margin at this early stage of the season, but we still have a long way left to go, and with upgrades coming next time around at the British Grand Prix, we'll be hoping to try and battle with Sergio Perez in the season. We're going to have a big engine upgrade, which will hopefully get over the fact that we are so slow in a straight line, but we're just going to have to wait and see for that. But there we are on P2. Fernando Alonso, no points scored here today. He's now level with his teammate of Jenson Button. Nico Hülkenberg on 70 points and Daniel Ricciardo 8 points behind on 62. So any one of those top 6 drivers could battle for the championship this season if Sergio Perez has some races where he struggles at. And finally, ending with the Constructors' Championship. Force India still lead the way here today, but a good points finish from Daniel Ricciardo and, of course, myself getting that 1 point. But, you know, 1 point can mean so much in the championship, and that just goes to show here at the Austrian Grand Prix. 171 points to 170. We are 1 point ahead of McLaren Honda. That 1 point that I scored here today puts us up into P2 in the championship, but we are 75 points behind Force India, which is a huge margin that we have to try and close up over the rest of the season. But that is it for today's Austrian Grand Prix. If you have enjoyed the episode, don't forget to smash a like on today's video. Subscribe to the channel for daily Formula 1 content, and don't forget to share this video with your friends. But I'll see you next time at the British Grand Prix. But until then, it's goodbye from me.